So for the last segment here, second to last segment, I should say, until we get to our end of the episode fantasy discussion, which we got a lot to talk about this week. Me and Matt played this week, and Coop, I got you next week. But before we get there, we wanted to just quickly talk about some of the surprise 2-0 teams, or maybe not surprise, but at least controversial 2-0 teams heading into week 3. So those teams that we're going to be talking about are the Cardinals, the Raiders, the Panthers, and the Broncos. All of these teams are getting some MVP level play, like Kyler Murray. I would even venture as far to say Derek Carr. But there's definitely room for controversy about whether these teams are for real and whether they're contenders and whether this kind of winning will continue as the season goes on. So I think the best way to do this would just be to start with one team and give our thoughts and go from there. So is there a team that you guys want to start with? Is there a team that you're really pressed about, that you really got something to say about?
I think we should go with the Raiders first, since you just mentioned that. Yeah.
Let's do it. All right. So yeah, the Raiders are 2-0. They had that kind of prolific Monday night game to start the season off.
Oh yeah.
And then they continued the hot streak this week. I'm a believer in the Raiders. I've since they got John Gruden, despite his more questionable decisions upon first coming in, like trading Khalil Mack, in John Gruden we trust, and I think that they're going to be just fine this year. I think that this is actually going to be something of a breakout year for the Raiders, and I think they're a sneaky Super Bowl contender this year. I may be a bit too high after just 2 weeks here, but they've shown resiliency. The offense looks great, despite not having a whole lot of depth at places like wide receiver. I think they can get it done. So I'm interested to see, Coop. It sounds like you might disagree slightly.
No, I agree with you. I think they're going to be a pretty solid team. I don't think they're Super Bowl contenders, but I think they'll at least be a wild card team. Yeah, they've got a pretty solid offense, and they've got a good rookie in Carl Nassib, who had a big I think it was forced fumble against the Ravens on Monday night. Yeah, they've got a good wide receiving core of Henry Ruggs and Hunter Renfrow. So we'll see if they can continue that level of play. And they've got arguably, I think, one of the best running back duos in the NFL with Josh Jacobs and Kenyon Drake. I had Kenyon Drake last year, and he was great on the Cardinals. So excited to see what else he does on the Raiders this year. I think he's going to do great. He got that nice 1-2 punch with Jacobs and Drake, and the veteran coaching of John Gruden. I'm also a John Gruden guy. I think he's a good coach. He's a real football guy. He really just knows the game of football in and out. So I think the Raiders are a strong wild card team this year.
Yeah, I believe in the Raiders. I mean, there's no reason not to. 2 very impressive wins over AFC North teams, especially, I mean, both of them, really. You had Monday night in prime time in front of the whole country, and then you had a tough road game for them coming all the way east, which is never easy to do, traveling between the time zones and beating a very good defense in the Steelers without Josh Jacobs. So that was big, and Darren Waller was pretty much erased. He was obviously the main focus of the Steelers defense, and he's obviously the number one weapon, and they still found a way to win the game, and their defense played great. So, yeah, I mean, there's no reason not to believe them, at least at this point. Because like I said, if you can beat those 2 teams in those 2 scenarios, you can beat just about anyone except for maybe the Chiefs, who they beat last year for one of the Chiefs' 3 losses. So, I mean, they're a division rival. They know what it takes. They see them a lot. So, I mean, yeah, there's no reason why not to buy into this site.
All right. So, Matt, are they Super Bowl contenders? That's the burning question here.
Not quite, because I still think that they're the 3rd best team in their division. I like the Chargers still.
Yeah.
Which that was a tough loss.
The Chargers too. Okay.
That was and the Broncos. I mean, forget the Broncos are 2-0, who we'll obviously talk about here.
Right.
That's
Wow, strong
surprisingly
division.
good.
Tough
That's a very
division.
good division. That's a very good division.
tough division.
So is the NFC West when the Cardinals we'll talk about. Both West divisions got some very good
Right.
teams going in them. So that's going to be tough.
Yeah.
Why don't we slide right over then and talk about the Cardinals, the other team in the West Division out there in the NFC West. I'll let you guys start this one off, and I'll come in at the back end. Coop, you maybe want to start us off with this one. Where do you see the Cardinals doing?
Yeah, I also think the Cardinals are a very strong team. They're a good balanced team with the leadership of Kyler Murray, who's just so elusive. That's a big thing nowadays in the NFL. If you have a running quarterback like the Ravens do in Lamar Jackson, or the Chiefs do in Patrick Mahomes, you're going to do pretty well, I think, more often than not. Kyler Murray is just he's so fast because of that, sort of compact frame he has, and he got one of the best wide receivers in the NFL right now, DeAndre Hopkins, regardless of his stance against vaccines. You can't forget that he's a great player. And you got on defense, you got Chandler Jones and Tyrann Mathieu. So all around, just a great team. And I think that they're posed to make a deep playoff run, if not definitely a wild card team.
I'm going to stop you right there because I don't think that the Cardinals are a playoff team. I think they still finish fourth in the NFC West, just because it's a deep division. And I like what they've done for the first 2 weeks to start the season. I did not expect them to go into Tennessee and win. Guys win. Tennessee, they bounced back well. So, I mean, that was a good win for them. Tennessee beat Seattle. Arizona beat Tennessee week 1. So that's a good win. I don't know. The Vikings are another team that I expected to be somewhat decent. They're 0-2. Maybe I overestimated them. I just still don't think that the Cardinals are on the level of – I could see them maybe passing the Seahawks, if anything, which I guess, would be a wild card because I think there's going to be 3 playoff teams out of the NFC West. When I match them up against,
I think it's because
what
Matt, you cut out there again. Unfortunately,
you cut out right when you were saying you could see them passing.
I could see them passing the Seahawks if anyone in that division. So I guess that would make them wild card team because I think there's going to be 3 wild card teams from that division. Did do it again?
Yeah, just for a second.
I don't think they're a playoff team when you match them up with the other 3 in the division. But I could see them also finishing we got 17 games. I could see them finishing in 4th place at 9-8, which would just be absurd because that's 4 teams in the division with a losing record. You put them in any other division, they're probably definitely a wild card team, if not winning it. And that's just, I don't know, luck of the draw, I guess. But they play the AFC South, but so is everyone in their division. The AFC South, I think, they already beat the Titans 1. They can definitely beat the Colts. They can definitely beat the Texans. They can definitely beat the Jaguars, but I think you could say that for all other 4 NFC West teams. So I think they're all going to have the opportunity to rack up wins, and they're just going to beat up on each other, and it's just a matter of how those games play out. Every time there's a division game going on in the NFC West, it's going to be huge. So,
jeez, Matt, I think your takes have been so bad that this episode that Zoom is just cutting you out. Say no, I'm not letting this guy say anymore. It's just like,
hey, we'll see.
Cut him off right there. Don't speak anymore.
I think Cliff Kingsbury is a terrible coach, and it's going to show sooner rather than later. You just watch.
Oh,
that's an interesting take.
You think Cliff Kingsbury is a terrible coach with that great house he has that was shown on the NFL draft?
All right. Well, look at his division. Is he a better coach than Sean McVay? No. Pete Carroll? No.
Well,
Kyle Shanahan. No.
They're both good young coaches.
Sean McVay has a nice house too, so it's got that going.
but
all 3 of those guys have been to a Super Bowl.
So yeah,
true.
I'll tell you.
But those 3 other guys have been to a Super Bowl, and Pete Carroll winning one. So, but I just think Cliff is like, I'll just be watching games and they'll be going for it on random 4th. I feel like he's almost like too aggressive. Like that's my problem with him. But I mean, Kyler Murray is absurd. I mean, it's nothing against him. Like they're a great team. It's just, I think when it comes down to the other teams in their divisions, the other ones just have better coaching and deeper rosters. And at this point anyway. But I mean, the Cardinals, Kyler Murray's going to win an MVP in a Super Bowl at some point in his career. So yeah, I mean, why not this year? Hey, I'm not ruling him out. I just don't think.
Okay. Fair point.
I mean,
fair point.
I think I agree a bit more with Matt on this one. I think the Cardinals are good, but I think they're unproven. I don't think that the 2-0 start is indicative of anything. And the reasons I think that is because Minnesota's defense has been abysmal this year. Their secondary is awful. Their front line has also been awful. And I don't think that performance says much. It says that the Cardinals can take advantage of those types of situations, which is great. And Kyler Murray's been spreading the ball around better than any quarterback in the league this year. AJ Green has catches, Christian Kirk has catches, Rondale Moore has catches, DeAndre Hopkins, of course, has catches. So the Cardinals offense is the real deal. And I also think that Tennessee kind of got surprised a bit by him in week 1. I think that the Cardinals kind of stole that game a little bit. And with the strength of that division, I agree here with Matt. I don't see them. I almost don't see them as a playoff team. It'll be interesting to see if they can keep this kind of roll going. But I'm not going to go so far as to say they're a fluke, and I'm not going to go so far as to say they're a contender. I think there's just too much left out on the table yet with the state of the Vikings defense and kind of the surprise factor of the week 1 win over Tennessee. I think that the Cardinals' success here remains to be seen. But we'll see. We'll see going forward. So, all right, moving right ahead here. Let's go over to the Broncos. They're back in that division with the Raiders. Came out hot. Their defense is playing just outstanding. Surtain, the rookie, has come in and filled in better than anybody could have hoped that he would fill in. Von Miller looks to be back. Teddy Bridgewater seems to be faring well. Could be a sneaky Cinderella type team this year, but also with the strength of that division, I don't see them being a playoff team. And I think they're actually probably going to suffer some bad losses this year. And I don't think it'll be their defense's fault. I think that Teddy Bridgewater, while being a good quarterback, he's not great. And the game that Sutton had this weekend isn't going to be something that we see consistently, despite the running game being not the worst thing in the world. They have Melvin Gordon, and I'm forgetting
Javonte Williams.
Thank you. Yes, Javonte Williams. They've looked amazing. But again, I'm just not sold on this Broncos team. And that could just be a product of their past troubles here the past couple of years. But yeah, I don't see them as a playoff team this year.
I'd agree with you. I could see them definitely tailing off and taking some bad losses as the year goes on. I just don't think it's sustainable is the way I want to go with it, I guess.
Tyler, I'm going to stop right there about your take about Courtland Sutton. Courtland Sutton is a great wide receiver, and he's very solid. And he was very solid last year. He was averaging more than like 10 points a game at least. And so while he's not going to be putting up 25-point games a week because he's the number 1 wide receiver and has a huge target share in this offense. So while the Broncos all around might not be one of the best teams in the AFC, Courtland Sutton is a legit wide receiver.
Sutton is a legit wide receiver. I'm just worried about his sustained production with Teddy Bridgewater at quarterback. Okay. That's my only concern there. I think that with a guy like Patrick Mahomes, insert elite quarterback here, Courtland Sutton is an elite wide receiver. Teddy Bridgewater is my concern. So yeah, I partially agree, partially disagree with you on that.
Okay, all right.
Just for sake of time here, it looks like we are getting close to the hour mark here. So we're going to move on here to the last team real quick in our discussion. And that is the Panthers, who really shocked everyone, especially everyone in New Orleans and myself, beating the Saints. I believe it was 26-7, kind of a statement game. Their defense is real. Defense wins championships. Sam Darnold is here. It was all the Jets' fault. I feel like Sam Darnold is going to show why he was a top pick in the draft, and why he is a franchise quarterback going forward. But that defense, the way that they're able to dial up pressure, I don't remember the exact number of sacks that Winston took, but I want to say it was something like 8 to 10 sacks. It was a statement game. The Saints came in and just knocked the snot out of the Packers in week 1. And I firmly expected this game to be much closer. So I'm all in on the Panthers. I think they're the real deal. I think that defense is going to take them places this year.
Yeah, I agree. I think they can grab one of the wild card spots. I'm big on Sam Darnold now that he's finally free from the Jets and all the sabotaging they may have done. I think he's going to be a great quarterback this year. He's got good weapons, and his old buddy Robbie Anderson from New York, and obviously DJ Moore, Christian McCaffrey's as big of a weapon as they get. And the defense, last year they spent all 7 of their draft picks on defense. The 7 defensive rookies last year. They only got better as the season went on, and they've started this year off on a roll, obviously. So that defense is young, and it's been great through 2 games, and it's only going to get better. So I think they can definitely grab one of the wild card spots. I think they're the second best team in that NFC South, obviously, given the Bucs and out over them, which is no fault of their own. Obviously, they proved they're better than the Saints. They're better than the Falcons as well. So they're going to be very well in contention for one of those second wild cards.
I'm going to stop you right there. Just a quick follow-up question. Do the Panthers steal a game from the Bucs this year?
Maybe when they play in Carolina. Maybe.
No.
Bucs aren't going to win them all. And one of the ones the Bucs lose is going to be a division game, because those games always tend to be close. I know they blew out the Falcons this week, but they really didn't. There was 2 key pick sixes at the end that made the score look the way it was. That was a good game. That was a very close game. It was a 1-possession game with 7 minutes left. Obviously, like I said, 2 pick sixes. The one great play by Mike Edwards. The second one, Mike Edwards again, ball just tipped in the air, happened to get picked and ran back. I mean, that could have happened to anyone. So the game ended up scoring 47 points or something ridiculous. That wasn't really a 20-point win. I mean, it was, because that's what the scoreboard said it was. But like I said, it was a 1-possession game with 7 minutes left. Division games just always tend to be closer. Like the Chiefs losing to the Raiders last year on Sunday Night Football. That's just a team that knows the Chiefs. They see them twice a year. They have been seeing Pat Mahomes now for 3 years, twice a year. So, I mean, the Bucs, I mean, granted, they've only seen Brady for 2 games last year, but they're a team up and coming. I think maybe they could steal one, but like the Bucs aren't going to go 17-0. If there is a team that's still undefeated, most likely to do it, it is them. But I wouldn't be shocked by it, but I'm not going to predict it.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, but you guys are the bigger Patriots, or at least New England area fans. In my experience, it seems like when teams can get pressure on Tom Brady, and this goes back to his time with the Patriots, there's a much greater chance for success. It seems like that might be his kryptonite is pressure. And I feel like the Panthers are the team that can bring that pressure. So I completely agree. I think they steal one from him this year. I think that's one of Tampa Bay's losses.
Pressure from who?
Derek Brown, Brian Burns.
Reach.
Name them.
Who are they?
I
don't know those guys.
Derek Brown, 7th overall pick a year ago. Jeremy Chin should have won defensive rookie, or did he win? He might have won defensive rookie in the year. I might have been.
That I don't know.
I know he was one of the top 2. He's a like Jamal Adams type. He's a blitzing safety. I mean, J.C. Horn, 7th overall pick this year, playing corner. He's locked down. At least he's going to be. I mean, it's tough for rookies adjusting. But Brian Burns, I think he's a Florida State guy. He was a first-round pick a couple years ago. He's good. He had double-digit sacks last year. No, I mean, they got names. You're just not a college football guy, so that's why.
Chase Young was the rookie of the year.
Oh, that would make sense.
Yeah.
Jim was second.
Of course,
I had the same. I had the same thought. Like, how did I forget that? Because
he was so good. I feel like I've been seeing him for years now. But makes sense.
Yeah, but the Panthers, the only player I really think of is Christian McCaffrey. There's like Christian McCaffrey and everybody else. So I don't really think about the Panthers that much. Ever since Cam Newton left, I don't know. They haven't done great. Christian McCaffrey is like the only player that has kept this team even slightly afloat these past couple years. So that's all I have to say about the Panthers.
And going back to your prior discussion, Coop, about intangibles, I think that sentiment that you're kind of sleeping on them a little bit, I think that is going to be something that they can use going forward. They're going to fly under the radar, be a sneaky good team all year. And I think they're going to surprise people. So, yeah.
Wouldn't be shocked.